Hey guys, it's RJ the Awesome here, bringing us our week 3 power rankings. But before I get into that video, before I record, after I recorded this, sorry, I was talking to one of my friends because the person that I had originally planned to do this with, couldn't do it because he was busy. And my friend's like, well, why didn't you ask the person that had commented on the week 2 power rankings? And honestly, I don't think to look at the comments. In fact, the only reason why I look at my own comments is because I get emails. Otherwise, I wouldn't think to look at those either. If you do want to be a part of the power rankings, of course, this is before Espelancer finishes moving in. Your best bet would be to message me on Skype and not comment. And so the one that did comment, I am really sorry about that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get on to the actual power rankings. Hey guys, it's RJ the Awesome here, bringing us our week 3 power rankings. I was originally wanting to go with record with Noivern Nation. Sorry, Noivern, for messing your name up. But I did end up contacting him a bit too late because I was unsure if Espelancer was going to be done moving in or not. And when I figured he would tell me when he did, it was too late. He already was too busy today. So I am on my own this week. So instead of just showing mine and another person's, it's going to be my choices from last week and then my choices this week. All right. So first up, staying where they are, we have the Misty Drapions. And honestly, I don't think she played bad, but I don't think she played really well. She played better this week than she did last week, but I don't feel like she's showed us what she is capable of as she did the first week when she got her win. And honestly, I was close to putting her up to number 11, and it was really close between 12, 11, and 10. Those three were really close, but I ended up keeping her at number 12. It was a really, really tough decision for me. But moving on to number 11, we have the Kansas City Kingdras dropping down 2 spots. The first time they're moving in the power rankings, they started off at number 9 and stayed number 9 last week because and still do. I expect great things from this team. He just has to get his footing. Once he gets his footing, he'll do really good. He's shown that he's capable of making good plays, but he's just narrowly missing out on the little things. For example, this week, one play that really confused me was he predicted Yuma to overpredict when Rionoclus was in with Venusaur, when really there was no reason for Rionoclus not to click Psychic. Nothing resisted Psychic, and the only other move coverage he had was Energy Ball for Donphan, which Donphan has 30, so it wouldn't have mattered had he clicked Energy Ball over Psychic. So that was really one of the only questionable plays that he made. That and setting up the Sword Stance with Dowblade when your opponent still has a Mon that can handle a Dowblade. But he is showing his potential. He's just hasn't been able to really get his feet planted and go hard and progress. Again, I don't think he's going to not win a single game. I see him winning quite a few games after he really just gets used to his team. That's what it seems like. Like he's not really too used to some of his Mons, like Mega Venusaur and Dowblade. But I see him doing really good, and I honestly couldn't put him at number 10 like I was originally going to put him, just because he has yet to win a match. And I was really close to putting him at number 12 for that reason. But I feel like this week he did play better than Misty, and he played better than Misty last week too. So I do have him at number 11, but it's very, very close. And also very close, we have at number 10 the Cleveland Cavaliers, who played amazing week 1. but lately has seemed to kind of fade away from the good plays. This time he was pretty much swept by a Choice Specs Heatran. I feel like he should not have gone into Mega Gardevoir on the Heatran, especially because it's a Steel type. I know Mega Gardevoir is semi-bulky on the special side, which the Heatran had revealed itself to be a special attacker, but still, I don't really see the point in going out into Mega Gardevoir. And plus, looking at his team, I honestly didn't see a good Heatran answer in the first place. And if Mega Gardevoir was his Heatran answer, then it was honestly just a prep problem there. He didn't bring anything for an offensive Mega Heatran, and it did end up costing him in a 5-0 loss. But again, he played amazing week 1, so I did end up putting him above the other two because he played amazing week 1. He played decently well in week 2. It's just this one week where he had a major slip up. But even though 12, 11, and 10 were really close, these next few are insane. Like number 9 through 4 were so close. I was like, honestly, if I could say that 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4 were just a 6-way tie, I would. But unfortunately, I can't do that. I have to rank them. So I decided to rank J-Specs, coach of the Hampton Eye Dragons, as number 9. He played really well this week. His only downside, one of his only downsides was his prediction problems in which he lost his Claydol really early when he could have spun away the Toxic Spikes. And Iron Ball Claydol wasn't the smartest idea because as a result of the Iron Ball, Claydol itself got poisoned. And there's a chance that it would have lived that hit, possibly. I don't know. I didn't run the calc, but maybe if it wasn't poisoned, it may have been able to live that hit. Especially because when I originally saw this matchup, I was thinking that the Pokemon I was just talking about that I randomly forgot the name of, Claydol, I don't know why I couldn't think of it, had the berry that weakened the Dark type move. I was convinced that that's what it was, but it wasn't. Not this week. Not this week. And if it would have been, he would have been able to get rid of those Toxic Spikes, which honestly, really, after that Jinning error with the Mega Altaria and the return doing like 3 damage, might have cost him the game, even though he played fairly well. And now on to the Silver Division, where we have the Sydney Crocodiles dropping down 1 spot. And honestly, this one was the hardest one to put on because the Crocodile Rapidash match was really the closest match of this entire week. And the momentum was bouncing back and forth and back and forth. And for a while there, it was really on V's side until Sharpeeno was able to take that momentum back with the Sableye. And it looked as if victory was his, and then he gets flinched. And I was close to putting him above V, but I honestly, V won fair and square. I know hacks suck, but he did win fair and square, so I am putting V above Sharpeeno. But it was a very, very close match. And of course, at number 7, we do have V moving up 4 spots, really showing he's still in this. I believe he was at number 12 the first week and then number 11 the second week. And this week, he just blew everyone away. Even before the Icicle Crash flinch, the only part that I really question about his battle style this week was letting the Sableye set up. Had he had just gone out into Weavile, it would have been good. But he had let the the Sableye set up, and it almost spelled doom for him. But luckily for him, it did work out for him in the long run. And hopefully he can keep playing like this and keep wowing everyone with his Weavile skills, because really Weavile is the one that's doing the most work on his team. And at number 6, dropping down from number 1, we have the Chicago Sacred Fire, coached by Stab and Trev. Trev's still taking over for Stab's team until Stab gets his internet back. And this week he was up against Inferetti of the Pittsburgh Steelix. And why I have him higher than some people that won is because that match was completely ridiculous. And Trev really used Clefable amazingly. And he performed really well the first 2 weeks. He had a slip up that he didn't have much for the Vivillon once Megalopony went down. And that's another thing I could get into. He let Megalopony go down way too early against the Choppleberry Umbreon. That was unfortunate. Once Lopunny went down and Vivillon started setting up, it was pretty much over. And Vivillon we'll get into that later on. But he still played really well up until the Lopunny incident, and then he still managed to really work with Clefable really well and gave Inferetti a massive run for his money until he got once he got Vivillon going, then it was over. But before then, it really looked as if Trev was going to win this. He had all the momentum with Clefable until Vivillon just put a stop to it. But I'm going to go ahead and move up to number 5. We're dropping down 3 spots. We have the Verd, coach of the Tampa Bay Frogadiers. And yeah, this week, everyone that's in the top 4 has won. Because I remember last week I didn't do that. And that was a little weird. But this week, everyone in the top 4 did win their match. Verd played really, really well in his match against Lucky, and honestly, it all came down to a damage roll against the Gourgeist with the Yashi Berry, I believe that's what they're called. But he played really well throughout the entire thing, and really just showed his good battling skills. But unfortunately, Lucky was able to use Gourgeist to just completely outmaneuver him and give Verd his first loss. And hopefully Verd doesn't let this get to him, because from experience with Verd in the league format, a lot of the times when he'll lose, he'll kind of just like slip into a lot of choking moments, because he's really, really wants to win to get back, but he then just, I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't happen this time and Verd can rise back up to the top, but only time will tell. But let's go ahead and move on to our Gold Cup, where we have Yuma, coach of the Chicago Cub Chews, and his match against Kingdra, we talked about it. It was insane, man. He really played a lot of his Mons really well. I want to say he did play Garchomp fairly well. There was a crit that kind of allowed Garchomp to live, and he used that to his advantage in order to keep the momentum in his favor. He was able to take out the Dowblade with the rough skin and Rocky Helmet as a result, and he was able to sack off the Garchomp later on to make it to where Kingdra couldn't get the momentum from the Venusaur with the Venusaur, and he really... honestly, the only questionable play I have to wonder about is switching in a Shaman against the Venusaur. I mean, it might have gone for Giga Drain, but I feel like the Sludge Bomb was kind of obvious there, and he let his Shaman get really withered down. Like, it took a massive hit, and had that not happened, it would have been a lot different, because Shaman would have put in a lot of work. And something I want to point out is that he really used Rionaclis amazingly. Rionaclis single-handedly put in the most work in that battle out of probably all the Mons combined. Rionaclis just kind of manhandled Kingdra's team. But anyways, on to number 3. Moving up one spot, we have the Jersey Dwebbles, coached by Cloud. In this match, we had already talked about it and how great he used Heatran to his advantage. And really, that's all. That's really all there is to talk about this time around. Is that I know I said in the last one, Rioniclus just completely manhandled Kingdra's team. Well, Heatran chewed up Phantom Base's team, spit it out, stomped on it a bit, set it on fire, and then Dark Pulsed it to oblivion. And that's probably an understatement because of how much work Heatran put into this match. And Cloud really just showed that he knows what he's doing. Like, he came with a unusual set, the choice specs Heatran, as Heatrans usually ran defensive in the league format, and really just caught Phantom Base off guard. I believe, I don't know, as of right now, his week 3 video isn't up, so I don't know if he was expecting defensive Heatran, but he was able to just completely destroy Phantom Base's team in the very beginning, and Heatran just put in so much work. The only play that was questionable was switching in the Gardevoir. I think he switched it in on Golurk, and if I remember right, he said that he thought it would have Levitate or something like that. I don't know. I may be thinking of the wrong battle, but I know I remember watching a battle that's probably not even, that may not even be in this league, and someone's like, hey, if I switch this in, Gardevoir is going to get Levitate, and the Pokemon didn't even have Levitate, so it may be this battle, it may not. I'm sorry, guys, my memory's not the best, but I do remember kind of scratching my head when he let Gardevoir go down, because Gardevoir was the only Mon, I believe Gardevoir was the only Mon on his side that had been KO'd. And yes, it did provide a safe switch into Heatran, which allowed the Heatran to just sweep his team. But I feel like that wasn't the best play. But anyways, moving on to the top 2, which once again was really close. Like, the only spot that was cemented down that I didn't have a hard time figuring out was number 3. These two, they overthrew the top 2 from last week. And for Reddy, I was really close to putting him up here. Yes, he had problems with Clefable, but Clefable's just a Mon you always have problems with. And he used the villain who, honestly, most people just kind of ignore because everyone thinks it's a terrible Pokemon, and he just destroyed the top team from last week, pretty much. And this time, we did get to see him in action, as he did stream it and then uploaded it later on to YouTube, as that was one of the things that was keeping me from ranking him up very much, was just the simple fact that I hadn't seen how he thinks. I also want to say, wow, man. He's keeping in an Umbreon on a Mega Lopunny, not once, not twice, but 3 times. I mean, I know you have the Chople Berry, but gosh. That was pretty... that kind of blew my mind. But let's go ahead and move on to our number 1 spot this time, which is the Dallas Manectric, coached by Lucky Lad TV. And he did amazing this week. Really used Gorgeist amazingly. The only questionable play I think he honestly made was the Jirachi against the Spiritomb. Assuming that it didn't have Pursuit, he swapped out, which honestly, a lot of the times, I'll see a Spiritomb ran Sucker Punch Pursuit. That's just kind of how it's ran. A lot of the times, I haven't seen a different set, so I don't know. I get that this is league format and not standard, and that I don't honestly see Spiritomb very often when battling at all. But every Spiritomb set I've seen, which is the very few, have ran both Pursuit and Sucker Punch. And honestly, I can't really count that as a misplay, because that's mind games, man. Is he going to Pursuit? Is he going to Sucker Punch? What do I do? Do I attack? Do I pretend to set up the rocks again, even though rocks are already up? Do I switch out? What do I do? That's just kind of what Spiritomb does. And Honestly, other than that, I feel like Lucky played pretty much perfectly once again this week. Last week he played perfectly. This week he played pretty much perfectly, and is the only undefeated team, which is honestly the reason why I have him at number one. I was close to putting Infraready at number one because of the way he used Vivillin. But with Lucky being undefeated, I did decide on putting Lucky up there instead of Infraready. But anyways, you guys stay awesome. I know I will, and I will see you next time.